How's it going? Jonathan here with Boston Collectors. And as you can see, I was one of the lucky few who managed to pick up the Umbra Operative from Sideshow. I'll explain more about that in the closing segment, so stay tuned for that at the end. We have an all-new wrap design with a few questionable choices, but I understand Battlefront 2 encapsulate more than just the prequel era of Star Wars, so it's fine. Outside of that, we have the standard promotional art box by Hot Toys, so it's nothing really new here, unless you're new here. I don't feel it's that big of a random release, since the Battlefront Classic Collection did just drop last month. Why didn't they do a figure from that title? I'm not sure, but it made the most sense to me. They could have reused another mold from a different clone, but I feel as though it was easier to limit one that didn't have a backstory to push it out of the door sooner. Rather unfortunate, because I would have liked 2 of these myself. But in the same breath, I am lucky, so I'll take what I can get. In the meantime, like this video for us and subscribe for more. With your support, we recently hit a major milestone of 5,000 subscribers. Without you, it wouldn't be possible, so thank you. And we appreciate the time you take out of your day to watch and hopefully enjoy our content. Let's continue. Before diving in, I'd like to complete the look of the character by applying a few of his accessories first. Here we have the magnetic ammo pouch, which magnetizes to his chest on the right side. It sits lower than Captain Rex's ammo pouch, which is technically seen in the source material this way. By swapping them around, you'll notice just how much higher Rex's sit on the figure. I'm all for accuracy, and I'm glad they nailed what was seen in Battlefront 2. I just have a preference for the higher style. As for his survival pack, it features a magnet, which attached without issue on the back of the figure. It's also equipped with a removable thermal detonator off to the side of the pack. While the figure doesn't come with a pair of droid poppers, this is a cool way to sneak in something different for the ARC troopers. Pre-equipped on the figure out of the box, we have a pair of neutral hands, donning the yellow colorway seen in Battlefront 2. We also have a gesture of command for the right hand, which isn't new for a lot of us who collect clones. For a guy limited to 1 per customer, I'll have him yelling at the shinies. Next, we have a right splayed gesture, which appear to have a bit more detail than the previous versions I own. For the left hand, Hot Toys also provided a pointing gesture that a lot of us have seen before. So we only received 2 different pairs of hands, and the last ones include the trigger gestures for the weapons included. Speaking of which, we have the DC-15S in the standard paint application and weathering seen with previous clone releases. Up next, we have a pair of DC-17s. Like the aforementioned DC-15S, the paint application is the same and can either be wielded in both trigger hands or holstered at his side. For the final weapon included with his release, we have the DC-15A long rifle. They didn't really go above and beyond, and I can't say I expected them to, especially for a limited edition run. However, we have a nice selection of weapons though, in all fairness. As for the final accessory, we have the base featuring a tinfoil sticker of the Umbra Operative. On top, there's a nice sheen to the base, and it features silver dry brushing along the edges. Since this guy isn't flying around anytime soon, he was given a crotch grabber. My standard complaints are the same. I'd like to see pairs of hands as well as fists. I feel as though they gave us everything we could need for a trooper that doesn't have any lore yet. Even without the pairs, they're at least consistent with what they give to standard clone releases and provided a nice array of weapons to pose with. Our first ever Phase 1.5 helmet is here, and it came with a release that no one could have predicted. Yeah, he's missing the ventilation on the sides of the helmet here, which does suck. But at least we have the paint acting as a light on the back of the fan. So we're 1 for 2. The paint application features slight weathering to the yellow and black parts of the helmet for a bit of wear. As previously seen with ARC Trooper Jesse, the ear cups can pop out using the tool provided by Hot Toys. Once ejected, we can then apply the included accessories for a better look to the helmet. Applying the micro binoculars is as simple as lining the points on the helmet until you feel a subtle click, confirming it's in place. At this point, you can either place both ear cups back on the helmet if this style is preferred. If not, Hot Toys did include an additional piece that we can go ahead and add for an even beefier style to his look, being the rangefinder. When it's fully kitted out, the micro binoculars and the rangefinder can articulate, but I wouldn't suggest moving the rangefinder with them attached together. It's a really cool style, and I like the way it makes the helmet stand out. For the second helmet included, we have my favorite look for the Umbra Operative. Something about the design for me brings the entire suit of armor together. As for the third and final helmet, we have the Phase 1 design featuring an articulated rangefinder and a slightly altered look to the skull design. All lined up, I can appreciate the attention to detail for the individual paint schemes. Not only what was covered on the front, but also the weathering on the back of them. Each helmet design makes the figure feel unique and almost like a totally different trooper altogether. But as I mentioned before, I do prefer the bulkier style to this one. You can also add portraits to the neck joint if you have any extras lying around. While the neck isn't textured to replicate human skin, it does work. If it bothers you though, you can go without it. I have to say, hats off to Hot Toys for including 3 different helmet designs. It did make the release feel that much better. Believe it or not, the overall design of this figure was seen before with ARC Trooper Jesse. Rightfully so, right? They are both ARC Troopers. While there are a lot of similarities, there are also a few differences aside from the helmet design and the paint application. I find it unique in a way where they can coexist in the same space without taking away from each other. The commas are designed differently, but we'll discuss more on that later. If anything, I feel as though they could knock out a few wanted ARC Troopers if they really wanted to. One of the differences was discussed earlier, being the Phase 1.5 helmet versus Jesse's Phase 2. The Umbra Operative was given black buttons as seen in Battlefront 2, compared to Jesse's, which are multicolored. I also noticed more of a shine to the whistling birds on the Umbra Operative compared. The comma there's a bit to unpack here. Firstly, the texture is different between the two, and you can get a feel for it by the way the light's hitting them. The Umbra Operative comma appears shorter than Jesse's, but it really isn't. Hang tight though. The straps crossed on the belts aren't the same either. Jesse's is pleather, whereas the Umbra Operative's is cloth. And there is a difference in the survival pack. There's more black on the Umbra's version. For the final comparison, we have the ammo pouch. Jesse's is weathered far more compared. I will say, I'm a fan of the subtle weathering found around the armor. It makes it feel lived in. However, this comma was definitely rushed. The way the straps are stitched to the main comma, it creates this crumpled mess that you see below the belt. Not only that, but the thermal detonator wasn't even attached to the figure out of the box. apart from the comma, which is the main problem. It's a decent figure. If you've seen clones here on the channel before, it isn't new. I find that he does look cooler paired alongside a team of clones with a higher rank, similar to Jesse and Captain Rex, or Commander Cody and Captain Vaughn. If you were lucky enough to grab this one, he'd look great in the collection with your other clones. If not, I'm sorry. It's unfortunate how limited this one was. A few notes before I rate the figure and discuss a couple of things. I ended up placed in the mid 400 range when the queue began, and a lot of people started falling off rather quickly. Come to find out, you needed to have the money on hand. All of it, up front. That was $298 if you didn't have a coupon or rewards. Based on how fast the line dropped in front of me, I predicted the figure wouldn't hit waitlist due to the upfront cost. I was shocked and wrong. $298 upfront is rough, but I couldn't see myself paying over that for a figure like this. At that point, you're paying for bad luck, and it isn't worth over $300. Unless, of course, you absolutely love the style and the skin in game. The worst part of the figure goes to the rushed comma, which can only be fixed so much by futzing with the Velcro beneath the belt. The thermal detonator isn't that big of a problem since I can glue it back myself, but it was another issue. Apart from that, it's a pretty cool looking figure, and I love the style of it. Limiting it the way they did, I can't be mad at because the clone doesn't have a background. While I would have liked to, I can manage with the one I was lucky enough to get. And with that said, I'm rating this release a solid 8 out of 10. A great selection of helmets and a nice array of weapons couldn't save the annoyance of that bunched up comma. Although, here's hoping for ARC Trooper 5s and Echo at some point. Like this video for us and subscribe for more if you enjoyed the content. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and thanks for watching.